stuff. Where were you born?
I was born here in Dubbo Base Hospital, as it used to be called way back when I was born, but I was born here in Dubbo, actually the fourth generation Dubbo in this area. We go right back to my great-grandfather who moved to, it used to be called Ironbark back in the 1850s. It's now called Stewarttown, but he first settled there, and then my family's been in around Stewarttown, Yamundry, Dubbo area for those 4 generations.
Tell us about your childhood.
I had a really great childhood, I thought. When I look back at it, certainly still think it's a great childhood. I was the youngest of 8 children, and the youngest in any family, everyone knows, always gets spoilt rotten. So theoretically I was spoilt rotten. I didn't think so at the time, but the rest of my siblings always used to tell me, and still tell me today, that I was spoilt rotten. And we grew up here in Dubbo, we grew up down in South Dubbo, and it was one of those families that really encouraged people to do whatever they wanted to do. So if you want to have a go at something, the family encouraged you. I had, as I said, 7 big brothers and sisters that I could rely on to help me out with things. Mum and Dad were very supportive. We didn't have much money, and with 8 kids in the family, you can imagine there probably wasn't a lot of money there. But we just really had a go at things, and we did lots of things, and a lot of hands-on things. My dad was a builder, so I used to try and work with Dad and help Dad out as much as I could. I don't know if I was a hindrance or a help to Dad. I actually had 3 of my fingers chopped off, with a power saw one day, helping Dad when again, more of a hindrance than a help, I think, in terms of helping on building projects. But it was a really good process to just be involved and get hands-on. And Dad, being an old bushy and an old builder, you just fix things. If things didn't work, you just fix them. And that was one of the things that I really learned as I grew up. You just work on outcomes, you work on getting things fixed. And I think that childhood, and seeing how much the family gave to the community as well. My dad was president of the local greyhound club for many years. My mum was always involved in canteens and P&F. So I think all of that grounding helped me later on in life to realise it was really important to give back to a community.
What's it like to own a local business?
It's a very rewarding and also challenging process, owning a business. When you create something from scratch, you've got all this responsibility about getting it going. You've got all these things you're doing that you really have to learn as you go. And the quicker you can get up to speed with all those things, the better the business will be. And there's so many things when you don't own a business, you haven't started a business, there's a whole range of things that you're involved with that you don't realise are needed. I started my first business back when I was 12 years of age, when I was in year 7 at school. I came up with an idea and I thought I could basically run a small business from school, which worked quite well, and that went all the way through school, and then when I was at university. And then when I came back, I was 21 years of age, and I started what I call my first real business. The one I started at school was probably a very much a micro business, but there are all the regulations and the legislation and the things you had to understand to be able to run that business properly. So that's a real challenge, but in actually running that and in employing people and creating things, it's very rewarding to sit back and look at a business that you run, that you've created from nothing, and look at what it's doing and how it serves people in the community. So it's not easy starting a small business, it's not easy running a small business, but it's certainly very rewarding if you can get it right.
What is an independent candidate, and why do you think that an independent candidate is advantageous for Dubbo?
An independent candidate is someone who doesn't stand aligned with any of the major parties. So typically we see people standing for the Liberal Party, or the National Party, or the Labor Party, or the Greens, or the Shooters and Fishers. So there's a range of parties there that people typically stand for. And as someone standing in that party, you adopt essentially the policies and processes in that party. And to a certain extent, the party mantra has to come first. And we saw a perfect example of that in recent times when this state government tried to ban greyhound racing from across the state. And there was one particular MP, Katrina Hodgkinson, who was had a position within the government, and she was a member of the National Party. And when it came to the actual vote for the final ban on greyhounds, she voted against her party, against all the advice of the party. She voted against her party. She believed she needed to stand up for her electorate, and that was more important to her, which I applaud that decision. Unfortunately, the day after she made that vote, she lost any position she had within the National Party, or any position within the government, because the party must come first. And people are punished, which seems wrong to me, for going against what the party believes. So as an independent, what you can do is you can stand up for what your electorate wants every single time. You've got no party to be honourable to. You've got no party to say, I must support the party. You've got one priority, and that is 17,352.89 square kilometres in this electorate, 80,000 people that live in this electorate. That's your number one and only priority as an independent. And that means you can represent the electorate and argue or bring your points forward as forcefully as you like to say this electorate needs to be represented and here's how it needs to be represented, rather than focusing on the party first and the electorate second.
This is our last question, and it's the question that we ask everyone. What's your piece of wisdom that you'd like to have at our age?